permanent nervous laughter, and we're live. Well, I guess it's not live, which is nice. It's recorded.
Yeah, that is nice. Thank God. Okay.
You know what I just thought of?
Okay, just be a little bit more gentle with your throat.
I was going to say, you know what I just thought of? Can you hear me swallow? Because that's gross. Ew. That's probably not enjoyable for people. How are you going to edit that out? Should I go over here? Can you still hear it? Really? I can hear Lily snoring now.
I'm crying already. We didn't even start. I'm crying.
I can hear Lily snoring when you're not like close, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're going to hear me drink too because I'm going to drink. We're going to be talking for like an hour. Does that make you feel better?
I couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear it.
Maybe I'm just quiet.
I must be a loud swallower. Oh my. Let's keep this first one PG, Laura.
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
All right.
Holy smokes. Okay, so now that we got all of the crap out of the way, this is our first podcast episode, and we have no idea what we're doing. None of these are going to be none of these are nervous. Yeah, exactly. They're not going to be refined and all professional. This is our place to not be that. So we were thinking like, oh, do we need an intro? Like, are we going to use a song? All this kind of stuff. And it's like, we'll literally never start this. You know what? I'm just noticing something. I'm sitting up here. I'm sitting up here in my office. And all I was thinking this week is like, I hope that Ben could like install my light above, because we have little lights up here. Let me see. Do I dare? Yeah, there's mine. I'm just looking across the room. He's got his fucking light installed and not mine. Like, what podcast do you have to? Anyways, I'm glad you can't see it.
Literally the opposite of what you asked him to do.
I didn't even bother asking because I thought, you know what, that's just
annoying.
I
thought you said you did.
No, but I told him I was doing this up here this week. So I'm just laughing because I'm like, the little bugger thought he'd just test it out on his side. Anyhow.
Pretty accurate.
So back to what I was saying, we're just going to figure it out as we go. The 100%. Whole thing, it's going to be crazy. But I'm Chelsea.
I'm Laura.
And we're going to save the intros for a second because we're actually going to introduce each other. But I basically just wanted to start and say that we're best friends. We met each other back in 2011.
Oh my gosh.
I
Was
only
it that
remember
long ago?
Yeah, I only remember that because that's when I got my license. So Laura
and you were young, so you just turned 19, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyways, Laura was working at Exit Realty Metro as an admin to the person who's like onloading agents and all that kind of stuff. And I guess I was her first sign up to that brokerage. And we became really close, like in that job role. And we used to like make sure we had like extra coaching sessions like during her work time. So that, well, we actually did do that, but we did them quite often. And it was just that relationship where we constantly knew what was on each other's mind in regards to like business ideas and all that kind of stuff. So it was like our person, not only as best friends, but also like creative ideas and all that kind of stuff. So you were there for like 6 years, I think, in Halifax?
Yes, I was. I was in Nova Scotia for 6 years and then moved back to my hometown in New Brunswick in 2016.
Yeah, maybe 2016 because I got married in 2017.
It was the end of 2015. And then because Arlo was born January of 2017 and you got married that summer. So,
and I'm just laughing because
2015.
We didn't know you were pregnant with Arlo and you were down visiting in Halifax for my birthday at the wine tour. And you had to come down. So it was a year before that, like while you were pregnant with Arlo. So now we live in different provinces. Yeah, it was a tough one apparently. And
the long distance best friend thing.
Yeah, and it's hard. So we were like, you know what? We miss that constant communication with each other. So like, what can we do? And we're like, frig it, let's do a podcast. Not because that's the only way to connect, but also because we're both business owners, we're both moms, and we want to catch up and have that consistency again. So like now we're just going to do it with you guys.
And it holds us accountable to doing it, right? It's like if we have to do it, it's that extra layer of accountability. We have to figure it out because we're both just so busy, and it's so easy for things to come up. Even if you schedule like a FaceTime date, it's so easy like
to
today,
cancel it. Exactly.
For things to come up and push it out to the side. Yeah, right? Like mom life, business life, all the things, it can get in the way. And then when you can't just pop over to your house and deal with those things while it's happening, then you have to.
Yeah, like I don't even see my friends here like often anymore. I don't know if it's like
me either.
I think it's like not just COVID, not to bring that in on our first episode because we hate talking about that. But I just feel like that's like an extra layer and on top of maybe like this time in our lives, like this age, because I think everyone's buying houses in different spots. Everyone has babies and families and, you know, all these things going on.
Spread out more. There's like activities.
Everyone's busy.
Birthdays on weekends for kids and sports. And
exactly.
You're just running and trying to keep up.
Yeah. So now you guys are lucky because you get to come and spend time with us when we do these podcasts. Or no one will watch it at all, and we're going to have a lot of fun regardless. So we don't really give a shit either way.
Exactly. Exactly. We just need this outlet. Like both of us, we decided we need that outlet of just getting our thoughts out there because we're that person for each other. Like, hey, here's what I'm thinking, but make sense of it for me. You know what I mean? And just kind of having that layer of accountability, like I said, and pushing each other to go for more or try bigger things, try harder things, because we can get so stuck, right? Like,
and also I feel like on my other social media platforms, I'm constantly just living through the lens of my business and constantly thinking, is this appropriate? Should I talk about this? Like, can I post this? What if my client sees this? And while yes, my clients can also and will also see this, this is like where I'm claiming the territory to just be myself and be in behind the scenes of my business and talk about like the real struggles, the real ups, the downs, all that kind of crap about being a mom, a business owner, all that shit. I don't want, this isn't like the picture perfect Instagram version. This is where we get to be whatever the heck we want while we're on here. So nothing's really off the table, but I'm going to start by introducing Laura, and I'll probably botch this, but anyways.
That's why we have our notes, so we can refer back to our notes.
Mine's not this like crazy thing, but...
And we kept our intro secret, by the way. So this is going to be fun.
I didn't do anything embarrassing, but anyways.
No. Okay, good.
No, I didn't. So this is Laura Anderson. She's my best friend, but I kind of have to like fight over her because she truly is the person that walks into a room at a party and everybody likes Laura. I don't always have the same reviews about myself.
Stop.
But she's literally that natural person that like the life of the party that everyone kind of gravitates towards. So I kind of, got in there and claimed her as my best friend. So that's Laura as herself, but she's also a fiance to Zach, who I'm very grateful for because he keeps you grounded there with your life together with him. And they have 3 beautiful boys who I love so much and don't get to see as often as I'd like to. But that's like another part of why we're connecting this way and why we're trying to build our businesses, because it's really important to us to like keep our families connected. Like I have a little boy, she has 3 little boys, and we want them to know each other. On top of that, this is where she'll never tell you the things that I will tell you about her and her business. But Laura is very, very successful in Arbonne. She's an ERVP, which I think means Executive Regional Vice President.
You got it, girlfriend. Get it? Yeah, you did.
Okay. I usually screw that up, but which is past the point of getting the Mercedes and all that kind of stuff. But that's the really cool thing. And hopefully I'm not like speaking out of whatever. I don't want to speak for you, but this is what I've noticed about my best friend and her business. She kind of started it as something that was like, oh, this is cool. Actually, like, I think we both went to the meeting together and like thought it was cool or whatever. And for you were working at Exit at the time. So it was more of like the side gig thing for quite a few years, probably like 3 or 4. You know, she was ups and downs, right? Like,
yeah, like even 5 or 6. Around year 5 is when things really changed for me.
Yeah. And it was the coolest part about what changed for Laura is that she made the choice and it worked, because I think it wasn't until you had the motivation to like take your life for your family in regards to business and not having to go back to a desk job that you're like, this is my only option. And I was like, well, then friggin' do it. Like, go on and don't give a shit what anybody thinks and post what you need to post. And you need to try it and see it through fully because you could do this. And girlfriend turned around and blew everything up and now has this huge successful team, which I think is so cool to watch. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I missed anything in my little intro. You're going to learn a lot more about Laura, but
probably more than you want to know.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about each other, but those are like the highlights of who she is.
Aw, you're so cute. Making me blush over here. Aww. Okay, well, Chelsea, you guys. Chelsea is one of those super rare humans who, like, in my opinion, she literally has it all. She's incredibly driven. She's incredibly hardworking and successful at whatever she does. And I'm not joking you, because whenever Chelsea says something to me like, I'm going to do this, when Chelsea says, I'm going to do something, it is not a question in my mind of if she's going to do it. It's a matter of when. Like, that's the type of personality she is, 100%. And I knew that from the moment we met. And I think a lot of that actually stems back to like both of our backgrounds. And that's actually a big reason why we connected and bonded so quickly too, is Chelsea has a background in competitive gymnastics and competed for a very long time on a very high level nationally, right?
Yep.
In gymnastics. So I know the work and the drive and the dedication that took. And I was the same with figure skating when I was younger. And I think both of us, like, because of goal setting in those sports, we carried so many of those practices forward now in our life, which is an advantage, I think. Yeah. You know what I mean? Entrepreneurship wise and business wise, it's totally an advantage.
Yeah, I think they teach you from a very young age. Like, you don't really know what's happening at that time, but now we work so hard to like create a habit, and they instilled so many habits that I don't think that I'll ever lose, that now as an adult, I like appreciate so much.
And you don't sometimes roll your eyes at it.
No, you know, and at the time like you're like, ugh, why do I have to do it?
Yeah.
But
like when we were taught growing up in those sports to visualize and to set goals, long-term, short-term, etc. Those are things that we now do in our businesses and in life, but we don't roll our eyes at it. Some people that maybe didn't have that exposure, they think, oh yeah, okay, that's not going to work. Just because I write it down on paper doesn't mean it's going to happen. Or just because I see it happening doesn't mean it's going to happen. When in actuality, that's a big piece of it. But anyways, back to Chelsea. She's actually born and raised and now raising her beautiful family all in the same place. She was born there, raised there, and now raising her little boy, RJ, who is
actually, I was born in Cape Breton and I moved here.
Really?
For
oh my gosh. How did I not know that? Because obviously, like, you go back there all the time. Yeah. Your little accent's coming out. Gotta say it right.
Yeah, only till I was 4 though. Then we moved up to
and then
Hammond's
you had
Plains, which is where we live now.
Right. And that's kind of like, that's her home base. She always wanted to be back there, and super proud of her and her amazing hubby, Ben, who she's super supportive of. She's an awesome, awesome wife, by the way. And Ben's an awesome husband and a fun one. But they actually live back in what she considers like her home base in Hammond's Plains, in their beautiful dream home that they just completed. Well, they're still completing. I mean, is it ever done? Right?
No, it's going to be a while when we have it like the way we want it. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm not in a rush this time. I think this was just such a big thing that could be such a stressful thing. And it's like, why would we ever make it stressful? We have so much time to get here and to have it how we want it to be. So
Yeah.
Work in progress.
And gotta kind of like peek at my notes here because I've said some things and not others. But aside from her being an awesome mom, you guys, and obviously an amazing wife and a super successful entrepreneur who has built multiple streams of income for herself. So she's not just a one stream girl, she's multifaceted. But on top of that, you guys, she is the very, very, very best friend a girl could ever ask for. Because, oh my gosh, am I going to get all emotional?
Like the first episode.
I needed wine. Oh my gosh. But for real, like she is one of, if not my biggest cheerleader. She is my biggest supporter. When I, come to her with an idea, she's like, yes, absolutely, you can do that. And like, let's hammer out how, right? And she's the type of person that she's going to celebrate with you in the wins, but she's also going to like cry and comfort you in the lows. And at the same time, let you have your pity parties, but then tell you to like kindly get back up, kick you in the butt and say, you got this, like get to work, right? And that's happened a few times. I can honestly say that because you're like my pep talker, really. So yeah, you guys will see. She's fun. She's funny. She's obviously gorgeous. She's really the real deal. So, and also fun fact, love you too, but fun fact, she's musically talented. Maybe you'll hear her sing someday.
Oh yeah.
She's musically talented.
Sad. I haven't played the guitar since RJ's been born because it's just been.
Stop it. Not even like partying?
No, my mom gets so mad at me. I need to like secretly pick it back up. Maybe, you know what? It's actually really
He's
good.
He's going to be 3 this year.
I know.
On,
it's so bad. And I think because we have this separate space, maybe I'm going to bring my guitar up here. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Because that's what you did at your old place. Like pre.
Yeah, when I was at Dad's above
when you were at your dad's while you were.
I loved that office. Anyways, yeah, I think it's just because like it's hard to get time where you can't hear it in the whole house, but this is just above the garage. So it's actually perfect and I will do that.
Yeah. So yes,
because my mom is ready to kill me.
And I don't blame her because you have a beautiful voice and it's just fun. Like that's a fun aspect of you, but to be around,
Yeah, and I also should probably try and make sure that RJ maybe gets into that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see where that goes.
She's also crafty. You'll see her DIYs and other things, which I am not. And she's good. She's good in the kitchen. She's good. She makes an amazing salad, and she also makes really good Christmas treats that I can steal for my friends. So she's got a lot of things going for her, let me promise you. But yeah, you'll find out some more funny little things about all those things as we go, I'm sure.
I'll never forget about that stupid chocolate.
Laura, what were we doing? It was like a baking exchange.
Yeah.
There wasn't much exchanging going on. Most of mine was garbage. Melted chocolate into a rock.
See, we should try to do some of these in person, like around Christmas. We should do like early in December, get together.
You want to repeat that?
Yeah, but like with everyone. Mm-hmm. We'll have wine and we'll make something. But yeah, so we are actually going to talk about things today. Mm-hmm. And forgive us because like, again, we don't really know what we're doing, but I thought a good place to start, and we're not going to actually answer this question until the end because there's a little bit of a timeline to get there, but like, what do we both picture as like, our you've arrived scenario? Like, why the heck do we keep burning ourselves out, getting up every day, fighting towards certain things? Like, what are we fighting towards? So that comes into like the visualization thing. But first, before we get to like where we see us when that feeling of like, okay, you built this thing. Yeah. I want to talk about like kind of the steps along the way. So for me personally, when I was first starting, in real estate. I mean, I was 19. So like, what are you even thinking about then? Like, I mean, I was probably thinking about a 40-year-old then. I'm probably like 60 now. Cause I never really lived as like a 19-year-old. I going downtown and all that stuff. I was that boring friend, but anyways,
well, you weren't boring, but you had different priorities.
Yeah.
And
right off
they weren't bad ones. Cause look at where they landed you, right?
Well,
like,
thank you. But yeah, the reason that I started in real estate was there's like more of a backstory that I'm not going to get into, but more so like my goal at that time was like knowing there's no limit to like what you can make. So I'm not like starting a job being like, this is your salary. It was kind of like, you know, you don't have as many responsibilities then financially. So it's like, let's do it. Like it was just an exchange your time for money. And like, it's funny when you go in at that point, because you think it's always just going to be like, I'll do real estate transactions and I'll get paid. And like, we kind of already touched on yours, like why you initially got into Arbonne.
Yeah.
But what was that?
You know
just
what,
like side cash or?
Well, and yeah, why I first jumped in is like Chelsea mentioned, I was working at a real estate firm at the time and had 5 part-time jobs. So I was working for other realtors and working at a restaurant in part-time hours to make extra cash. Cause young, living in the city, unlike Chelsea, I did do a lot of partying at one point. So like I was eating out downtown and going out downtown a lot. Like, and it was the social aspect. It wasn't like I was this big boozer and partier, but I liked to get together with my girlfriends and we'd go and do things, right?
Fun.
But
and spend money.
But it cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
It cost a lot of money. And so that's basically what I was doing in my 20s was early 20s was that, and working like crazy to kind of afford that.
Fun life.
Right. And I was like, well, this isn't really working out the way I thought it would. It's not, it's not working. So when
no
our
time
was
left to like go and
there
do
was
anything.
no time. Yeah. No time left at all to like just breathe or sleep or whatever. Anywho, so when Arbonne was,
I wonder if young people still feel like when you grow older, then you think like, do people who are 19 still think that way? And I think they do. I just think
what do you mean? Like the going out and
just like totally different headspace. Like, I mean, and then the other thing I was going to say before we go on to the next one is like, I kind of envy and would love to relive that first part of your business because you don't know all the shit. So you're like in this like blissful little bubble of like, this is so much fun. You're trying all these different things. You're like doing what you think is like, I don't know, like I miss that part. I'm like by myself, pouring myself a little like thing of tea with my candle. And I'm like, what should I do today? And it's like, and now I'm like, where the hell did that go? Like, I would love to do that.
Right.
Which I guess kind of like brings me to the next one where like, after that, you like build to a place of like, okay, we're making good money. We can afford things, but like, am I running a business or is this business running me?
And I feel like that's the place I'm in right now.
I'm like still like, I'm still in parts of that as well.
Yeah.
In conjunction with like the next stage of what I'll be
chatting
about. But it's like, yeah, you get to a place where it's like, sure, this is what I thought I always wanted was money. That sounds like so savage, but I'm like, you know, I'm motivated by like a certain lifestyle. So I'll admit that. So you think like when you get there, like, okay, perfect. But you know, I knew obviously starting a family was going to like put more things into perspective, but also like you can only do that for so many years before you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I can't do this forever and I'm still young. Like I was going to say I'm 30. I guess I'm 31 now. And it's just like, if I'm going to stick this out, there's no way in heck I'm going to stick it out this way and still be able to do this forever.
Yeah.
Which then like, now I'm kind of in a weird spot because both of us have like grown our teams in like similar ways or in different ways. And we'll get into more about like on other episodes about like why I love MLM so much. And I'm like constantly dipping my toes in and then coming back. But I feel like I've like kind of made a real estate model, not the same, but just like, how can I feel the same? Like I always am like, oh, I wish I was in an MLM. It looks
Chelsea
so much
wants
fun.
that culture.
Yeah.
Like that culture in that community. So you're like, F it.
Why don't
I'm going to build my own. Yeah.
And before I had a baby too, like I wanted to make sure, like, how do I do this? If I don't want to just like lose all my business, how do I still grow it? So that's when I started the real estate team. But I'm still learning every day on like how to, how to have a team and how to have a good team and how to have a good system and how to balance like doing enough, but not too much for the team and not forgetting about like your own business. It's like this crazy rope of like, okay, all these things. So I
think that's like a part you just said too. Like, I think that's something that people sometimes from the outside looking in, they think we already have all the answers and that we like have it figured out.
Yeah.
With what you were just saying, like you're constantly learning, you're constantly trying to look at different areas and say like, how can I do this better? How can this be more efficient? Is this working or is there a better way? Like, we don't all have it figured out. Like that's what, going back to what you said at the beginning, that's where Instagram is kind of like this facade of you guys see the good parts, right? And that's a big reason we wanted to start this was like, we're normal, messy, up and down entrepreneurs too.
We're
like it's chaotic. Yeah. It's true. It's like, it's chaotic. It's messy. It's not, there's nowhere, like we're nowhere near all figured out by any means. Oh, just shook my laptop.
And we keep like hitting the mics. We're like hand talking. But yeah, I feel like if I can say like one of the things I've realized the most that I've keep trying to fix for the last 2 years. And finally I'm like, screw it. I got to take this step. Basically what I've done is I came in, I was a realtor and then I'm like, okay, that's my job. And then, I got an assistant. So I'm like, okay, I'm a realtor, but I also have responsibility of one other person. I was like, okay, now let's start a team. And it's like, okay, now I have all of these different jobs, but I've not gotten rid of any of them. Like, yes, I have with my assistant, and I always am so thankful for the help because I could not live without them. But I don't think I've done a good enough job at saying like, what's my role? Like, why am I still doing every single activity that I was doing in my first job, but just keep adding all these other complexities into that? And I'm like, this is not a way to go bigger and better. So I think my next, where I'm trying to go is like, I want to build a company that's managed. And I want to be a part of everything in that company because I straight up have FOMO and get jealous if I like fully give a transaction away to one of the girls. So I'm restructuring. Well, in the sense that like so I fully connect and make a lot of friends through real estate. Like there's I keep thinking in my head, like there's a huge, like, especially the last 2 years, I've gotten so many cool clients that I'm like, those are my friends. Like, I don't have time to hang out with friends because all I do is work. But if I did, then I'd have a whole freaking pool.
You would hang out with them. Yeah.
Yeah. If I had a time, which I'm working on, maybe someday when we get a pool, it'll be a big party with all these people that are my friends. But I'm just saying, like, I love the connections and I want to be a part of it. I just need more help to be able to do more. And I should be managing. So it's hard. There's always like a safety net that you're taking away in business, and it keeps coming back every time you get to that next level. Yeah, every time you get to a new stage, you feel like, oh, if I could just get past this stage, then I'll be fine. And I'm like at another stage of like, holy crap, I'm stepping back with a safety net, or I'm getting rid of that safety net. And for me, right now, I need to step back, put the girls on pretty much every single file with me and my clients, and finally implement all of the things. Well, that's step one. But the reason why I'm doing it is not just so I can sit home and relax it. It's not time to relax because I'm not at that arrived place. I need to implement all the things that I've been learning for the last 3 years at these 10x growth cons, from all these podcasts. Like there's a big piece of like a company that I haven't built yet, as far as like content creation and SEO and all of these things online to like keep replenishing your business with evergreen content and stuff. And those are the things that I'm like, I need to make time for this. I need to build my list. I have to make more connections. I need to have some consistency and help with my assistant on that side. So that's where I'm at.
Because that's where the growth is. Like that's
the long-term growth. Yeah. And you're kind of like,
and it's more of a residual
yourself.
thing.
Exactly.
It's a residual thing at that point, because you're creating that first step and that content that's going to
live on,
give you repeat. Yeah.
So the more that you can put out there, if you do it once, twice, and you keep going, and then you get into like, you've made 40, 50, however many videos, you're putting them in the right places, and you keep building that over the years, you're going to keep benefiting from those for years and years. And I'm like, I have to lay down that foundation. And so in the interim, the safety net is a financial one. Like I'm literally giving away half my business at a time where like probably I shouldn't. Like literally we just built this house. Our bills are high. We have private mortgages on 3 different pieces of land. So like there's money flying out of our account, to be totally transparent. And it's at a time where I should probably be keeping every freaking deal I can get my hands on, because we just need to get these projects done. Like our office build would be great to get that done, because then we can kind of like, pay out everything and feel good. But like I got some hustling to do in the meantime, but it doesn't matter. I can't keep pushing this because I keep burning myself out, not having enough time with RJ, and still not laying the foundation. So final step. I guess this will be the fun one for each of us to kind of describe, but like now's the question, like what does our life look like when we've fully gotten to the place of like, do you want to start or me?
Yeah, well, I'll take it back a quick second.
Yeah.
Do you want to finish yours? Do you want to share yours and then I take it back on a few things from mine?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Okay.
Just so that, or will you forget?
I don't know.
No, you say your stuff because it sounds like it's fresh on your
and then mind. We'll arrive together. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So like kind of what you were saying with your, the beginning of your career and like how that all evolved, you started real estate because it was unlimited, and I'm in a similar boat, but I didn't know that when I found our bond. Like I didn't really start it with that mindset. You know what I mean? I wasn't starting it thinking, oh, I'm going to reach this level or this level
and make a
to
career
have
out of
that. Yeah. I didn't have that mindset, honestly, because I was, like I said, young and just living life. Just living my life.
Living my best life.
That's right.
We're just living
so my thing at that time was finding the time to make the time, because like I said, I was working those 5 extra jobs on the side. And that's where I was like, something's got to give here, because I don't really have a life. Yes, I'm forcing myself to try to find the time to make social life.
Yeah.
But I knew like, okay, this isn't going to be sustainable. How am I going to have a family? How am I going to, do the things I want to do in life when I'm working nonstop? And you've talked about that too, but that was my big piece, was like, can this opportunity help me make time by making the same money in less time? Right.
Yep.
So that was the big part that I saw. And then like, I had to, when it really shifted for me around the 5-year mark, one thing I always had to be really good at, and this is still something I have to be really good at all the time, because when I don't, I get in a rut. And it's knowing where you're going, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm so happy we picked this as our first episode, because I needed that refresher for myself of like, why am I doing this? Why am I working so hard? Why do I sacrifice some social? Like that's where, like you, that's where I sacrifice time. I sacrifice social life stuff, which is ironic now, for my business stuff, because to me, my business stuff is going to take me to a place that when we talk about arriving, that I get to have some of that time back.
And
right?
It's so hard. I find it really hard. And I guess I don't want to go too far on a tangent because we do have an episode we want to do on this, but like when I find that the hardest of like where you're going is when you're overwhelmed with your kids, but like in the best way. But if you're fully in mom mode, it is so hard. Just my dog is snoring. You can literally probably hear it. She would have been a wreck if I didn't bring her up here with me. Well, Will. But I just remember when I went, like when I had RJ with me, and like it's really hard at that point, or even with Cash, like if they're like anywhere between 0 and 1, plus other kids on top of that, it's just kind of like sometimes you're so distracted on like just what you got to do every day, and it's different when you have kids than it is with a job. A job is kind of a choice and you can be focused in that mindset, you're still by yourself, but with kids it's like reactive to like what they need. So sometimes you're so distracted that you're like, what in the actual F am I doing? Anyhow, you continue, but I feel like you're very much in that mode right now because Cash is still young. So it is important to have times where you're like, okay, let me reset for a second and just like, what am I doing?
No, for sure. And that's what, like I said, I'm happy we did this episode because I needed to refocus my attention on my why. Like, why am I working so hard now? And knowing like, here's where I want to be short term, here's where I want to be long term, and rewarding myself. That was a big thing for me. That like, if I set up little benchmarks of, okay, if I do this, I'm going to reward myself with this. And it's not just for me, right? Like it might be, I want to plan a camping weekend or take the kids to a movie, or like, I want to put in those sound like little things, but you know what I mean? It's the trade-off of, I know I'm trading some time right now. So when I get XYZ done, I need a little carrot just dangled in front of me.
A little pat on the back.
Yeah. Right. And it, cause it keeps me going and it keeps me working, and they seem like small things. And that was even like me with my laptop. I said to myself, okay, when I reach this business goal, I'm buying this laptop. Right. And that's little, but it's just,
well, these days, like sometimes not little.
No, I know. But in the sense of like, I need those little things. I don't know why. I just have to have, it makes it something to work for, I guess. And I also wanted to mention this because I know you kind of chatted about it with the unlimited income thing. I remember when I was employed at a certain place there, I've worked lots of places, by the way, not just that one, but, and someone had said to me, like, basically, my job is the highest job you could ever get here. So you're not really going to move up until I'm gone, like until I decide to leave. And that was the point in time for me.
I'm just laughing because I'm sure I know this situation.
Right?
But we
exactly.
Don't, we never,
but like,
we'll keep that.
There's a lot of different things that it just opened my eyes, but that was one of them that really opened my eyes. That holy moly, you don't have any control in a corporate setting sometimes.
No. And I try so hard to make sure that my assistants know that like, if I can get this going, your job and your pay is going to get better. Like I need someone who wants to be with me for the long haul. So like, if I can get to certain levels and I can improve that, I'm going to do it. And I'm very transparent about that because you'd have to be crazy to think that
that keeps people.
Everybody has to think about money.
Keeps people
it's
excited.
It's a stressor in everybody's life. Like everybody's thinking about it. So like you have to be transparent about that if you are going to keep people and hope that it works. But
yeah, for sure. And I just think like we talked about this a little bit with yours too, but knowing that the next level that you're going for requires you to get uncomfortable. It requires you to take away that safety net, like you said. So that's where I really resonated when you were talking about, okay, are you running your business or is your business running you? Like, I know I'm at a place where I need to start delegating certain things that I really shouldn't be spending my time on, but that I'm really picky on. So I like have a hard time letting go.
Yeah.
You know, and most of that stuff is really silly and stupid too, because it's like content creation of like a flyer. It's like, Laura, come on, let go of the little things. But sometimes I'm just so fussy and I know in my head I want this to look a certain way. But is that really the best use of my time? You know?
Yeah, I know. It's hard. And it's like a juggling act. I feel like your first initial reaction is to give certain things away. And then later you're like, did I give away the wrong thing? And then you have to change it up. Because I think as business owners, everybody thinks, get someone to do my social media is their first. So many people say that to me. Do you have somebody doing your social media? No, I never will. I have somebody helping me with my social media, and that's my assistant who understands my brain with me, who I talk to all the time. But like, if something is truly like your identity, don't outsource your identity. Don't outsource your identity. That's so stupid to me. No one can convince me otherwise.
It obviously depends what kind of business you're in, but in your case and in my case, our business is us.
Or depending on what it is. Like I will have Jess for sure do the listing marketing of a house. We just talk back and forth enough, or we critique back and forth enough that like I'm happy with what she's making always. But like I'm not going to have, you have to be present in certain parts. So it's a hard thing, Laura. You'll 100%. Figure it out, but like, it's okay to change things later too if it doesn't work. Like if you truly gave it a full stitch effort and you're like, maybe I do need to do that, but you can do this, like swap them out, whatever.
Yeah. And I guess I have to be comfortable with that part of it. Like that's where you're really good. And an area that sometimes I like tiptoe around is I don't ever want someone to think like they're not doing it well enough. And I don't want to hurt their feelings. So I'm like, oh, if I change it on them,
I've had an assistant for quite a long time. Believe me, that is not easy. And I literally have to have those hard conversations before I start with someone new every time, being like, you're going to constantly feel like, I'm correcting things and I'm not always right. You're going to bring lots of ideas to the table. But let's work together until like, it's not even a right or wrong thing. It's literally like, let's keep getting to know each other. Like that's the difference. Yeah. It's like, if I've done something consistently and that's how I am, and then we're trying to post like me, it's more so like getting to know the same way of doing things or similar style to not change your identity. So there's, I guess, a different way of looking at it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, is I'm in that stage of, I know I need to implement some more systems to work smarter.
Get more done at once.
Because I and just like focusing on the things I like to do. Because guess what? There's always aspects of business that you're not going to like to do. There's always aspects.
A lot of it.
And trying to find there is. Trying to find the places that maybe I don't love so much and making those either more efficient so that I have to spend less time on them, or delegate them altogether. Right? Yeah. Like,
and that process in itself is annoying. So like, you're going to have to just embrace that, like these next couple months of me doing this are going to be a lot of hard work. And then I'll reap the rewards later for getting over that hurdle.
It's getting uncomfortable. You got to get
I'm so uncomfortable right now. It's not even funny. I think this is the most uncomfortable, like not physically, but like, I am in the most uncomfortable stage I've ever been in my business, like today, like right now, which is, and not because of this podcast. This is part of one of many things, but that makes us uncomfortable too.
Well, it's just like both of us were like, we do not have time to do this at all, but we're going to rip off the Band-Aid and do it because we know that this is like one of those things that if we push ourselves, it's a stepping stone to what could help us level up, like what can force us to just step into a new level.
So, all right. What my life, I hope, will look like someday when I feel like I've arrived. I think it's when I allow myself to be more calm, because I've fully figured out how to have a functioning company. Like in the sense that like, if I'm
just
there.
Heard Lily big time.
Yeah, she's really like, she's very
I just heard a big one. That sounded like lawnmower level.
My you have arrived should be like the comfort of Lily.
Right, your dog. Yeah.
But like,
it's a dog's life. She's living the dream.
She's not stressed.
No.
But yeah, getting to the place where my business can run with or without me there, not forever, but like if I have to choose someday to not go into work, that it's not like me calling and rearranging a bunch of things. I want to truly be able to like set my own hours to work on the things that I need to, but be very far in advanced on like content
The
creation
content
systems,
piece.
all of the stuff that
Yeah.
like my company needs to run to
Yeah.
be financially free, in the sense that like, again, that you've set yourself up in a way that either it's residual or you've given yourself such a buffer that you like, this sounds so cheesy, but you literally have one life, and every single time something happens to anybody that makes me like emotional, if somebody, you know, is not here anymore, it resets it every
Yeah.
single time, being like, do whatever you want. And
Yeah.
I want to make memories, I want to travel the globe, I want to like understand the world that we're living on. So financially free in that sense, that like you can live the life you want to live and take those experiences that maybe you couldn't. And
Yeah.
on the biggest thing, for time and all that kind of stuff, is to be able to have the ability to be fully present in my kid's life.
Yeah.
And here I go. But like,
Yeah.
anyways, I feel like right now you're constantly having to like fight with that. And I don't ever want my kids to be like, oh, my mom's always on the phone, or my mom's always doing that. And I know,
Yeah.
and I don't want anyone listening to this being like, oh, I do that every day, because we all have to. But how
Exactly.
nice would it be to grow to a place where you could be like, you know what, I actually don't need to answer that right now. My business hours are from this time to this time, and I'll get there. Or you have somebody else in place where they have a piece of that job. Um, anyways,
To
to
just take
me,
that pressure off.
I want the pressure off. I want to get to a
Yeah.
place where it's like you've put all the right people in place to share these responsibilities, instead of trying to do it all yourself and burn yourself to the ground and be on a constant treadmill, to like
Yeah.
take your life back and be like, this is pretty cool. I get to go and
Yeah.
work really hard when I want to and in the hours that I set, but I also get to go and enjoy this thing called life that everybody should. So there's my
Exactly.
cheesy but vision board in my head of like, if I get there, I'm like, okay, you did it.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. And mine's actually really similar. Obviously, I think like
we always do this.
when
Like
you
we're,
have, I know, and when you have that, whatever that thing is for you, for me, it was becoming a mom. But for
yeah,
other people, it's different things. Like for other people, it could be they were away on vacation and they just like discovered a place that called their name and
yeah,
they thought, you know what, this to me is living. And
yeah,
for both of us, really, I think it was when we had kids and we realized, holy moly, like I really want to be more present with these little humans as much as I possibly can in the little time that I get to keep them, right? Because
yeah,
they're growing up too, and then they're
yeah.
going to be going off and doing these things. So,
And isn't that so annoying? I'm going to let you keep going in a second, but I just feel like life is so crazy, because the time that your kids are little is when you're the most stressed, the most like,
yeah.
not everybody, but like, you know, you're pretty much like figuring yourself out, trying to set up your life and keep up with things. And all while these little perfect humans are like, you know, you're just running it around. And then that's why
Yeah.
grandparents love being grandparents so much, because it's almost like they've arrived or come close to that, and then get to like enjoy that slow paced time with their grandkids. But how cool would it be to have that time with your own kids and
Sooner.
arrive there early?
Yes.
Like, can I get there
Yeah.
early? Because I still want to do that, like with my kids.
I know. I know. Because my oldest is going to school this fall. And I'm like,
Crazy.
so I only have my oldest and my middle in part-time daycare, and that's
Yeah.
my favorite thing, is that I get to have Monday and Fridays with them. Sometimes that's not my favorite thing, I'll be honest, because I'm trying to get things done and I'm like, crap, I have
Driving
all
you
three
nuts.
boys today.
Yeah.
I have all three boys today. Like, how am I going to make this work? And and you just do, or you don't, and it's fine, and you start over again the next day. But
Yeah.
like I'm like sad that time's coming to an end already with Arlo, and I will only have the weekends and holidays and March break and Christmas break and the summer break with them. Like, I'm already like, what? How did we get here? So yeah, I feel like I will have arrived when I definitely diversify my income, number one, because right now it is my Arbonne income. That's mine. And obviously Zach has his construction thing, but I definitely want us to have multiple streams of income and have other things going
Yeah.
that, like you said, kind of make you money in your sleep and make you an income without you physically needing to always be present or pouring energy into it. And yes, I know those things take time to set up, but like that's why we're doing that stuff now, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why
And we're
we
also
are
not
hustling
saying
now.
we're also not saying that like you set it all up and you're like, perfect, I don't have to go to work ever again because it's all set up.
Yeah.
No,
Definitely
it's so
not.
that it's so that it takes the pressure off the grind to always
Yeah.
show up and not have any flexibility to be able to say and no. Like to
Yeah.
be able to say no or to be able
Exactly.
to reschedule something and not feel like it's the end of the world, to give you that
Exactly.
like comfort of like, okay, let's just like make this a little bit easier so not everything's at stake right now.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And two, like I find a big thing for me will be that slowing down. And when I moved home to New Brunswick, it, it was really like it opened my eyes again to that slower pace, which was both good and bad for me because I almost felt like something was wrong with me because I wanted something a little bit different than not everyone in my small town. I'm not saying that, but
yeah,
it's a different pace. And I was still coming from this pace of like go, go, go.
Buzzing.
So, right. And coming home. So that was both grounding and really good for me because it gave me like, okay, I do still want to work hard right now because I do want that down the road, but very comfortably. Like I don't want to sacrifice the lifestyle that we want for ourselves and our kids just because I want to have like a slower pace and have that more focused time. Yes, 100% with my kids and with Zach. Like Zach and I get like nowhere near the time.
We should do an episode on
the
that.
time. We need that. Yeah.
We need to like plan out like how to make that better. And like, cause I mean, poor.
And then maybe I should try to stick to it.
Yeah. Because Ben and I are the same way and it feels like we come last and that's really not fair. I think I would love to commit to like, well, we'll literally have an episode on that. Sure. I don't really know what the content's going to be, but we'll make it up because clearly we both need to like.
Well, we might have to like tread lightly. We'll have to figure out how we talk about that one.
Maybe we'll get people to like come in and give their suggestions, and we'll make like a little date jar.
That's a good idea. Love it. And focus on passion projects. That's another thing that like I'd really love to do down the road is, and have the time for it, is like I do really enjoy when we bought this house and we've been slowly renovating it. I enjoy that piece, but when you're trying to do it alongside like
living there and you have to
raising 3 kids in it and building your separate businesses and et cetera, like I'd rather do some other projects like this, not in my physical home, but I enjoy those things. Like I really like that stuff. So that's something as I want to have more time for like passion projects, things that get me excited to work. But also
me too.
Just like, and the kids love it too. Like I actually love bringing the kids when it was the job site because they would like be smashing the walls and ripping off, wallpaper and they'd be like, I helped daddy do that floor. I helped daddy.
And they remember
do this,
it
right?
forever.
And I love that.
They don't forget anything.
But I know like and the summer weather makes it so much better. And it's made me realize just these past few weeks, having those Mondays and Fridays with the boys. I've wanted to be more intentional with that time and be more focused with that time. So before I was sometimes like, and I still do, but I was trying to juggle, okay, I got to clean the house. I have to get this set up in my business. I need to make sure the kids are fed and like occupied as well. Like they're doing something that they want to be doing. So I'll set them up some paint and then I'll try to get these messages off, right? Or whatever the case may be. But the last few weeks I've been making like a really conscious effort to get out with them. And I think that that's put back on my radar. Like you said, like really having that present time and not feeling stressed,
not feeling
that I
bad
put my
about
phone
it.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not feeling stressed enough
I
for my phone
never
away.
put my phone away, which is so sad. But that is part of the reason of like getting somebody on every file. Just so that like if you have that time, then like you can come back and give your 2 cents, but you're not the only person that can help that person in that time. But
yeah. And yeah, I'm right there with you. Like we've talked about this obviously a lot because like we want to travel with our families together. We want to travel as couples together.
Yeah.
And just having that ability to do it. And my business, I'm very lucky. I can pick it up and take it with me. But I want
another
to
one of the jealous, MLM.
Yeah,
thoughts.
I am super, super fortunate that I get to do that. But Zach can't. So I'd love to get us to a place where he can have that, where he can work more like from the management level of a business instead of directly in and physically attached to, so that we can pick up and go, whether it's a week, a month we want to spend somewhere, whatever we want to do. Like I want to have that freedom as a family.
I was thinking of this before, and like we're only going to talk for like 4.5 more minutes because we will talk forever. But it was funny because you were saying things before, it made me think of it, and now you're going to be the same. Like we're going to be hated by teachers because we're going to be yanking our kids out of school so much. But in my head, I'm like, I don't know how it has to work. I don't know if I have to do some homeschooling while we're on trips.
The one good thing about COVID,
I want to do that.
Honestly, this is like the one good thing about COVID, because I've seen more and more people now, like they're more set up and more used to the idea of, oh, here, you can take it with you and they don't have to miss everything. Like I've seen people do it where they go down to Florida for like 2 weeks. So the teachers kind of give you basically like a prep package. Maybe they don't do that everywhere, but I have seen it. So,
and I wonder if that'll last, but either way, we'll have to work something out there, teachers, because that's part of my goals. So hopefully I get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, I feel like this was not bad. This was fine.
I think it was okay. I mean, I'm surprised.
I kind of blacked out,
to be honest.
so I don't even really know what we said. So hopefully it's fine. But
I gotta get a better chair because my chair, every time I move, it sounds like
oh my gosh! Of course, typical.
Yeah, right. You've got a snoring dog. I have a farting
Lily,
chair.
You're not invited next time. But yeah, anyways, like we have some topics that we want to go over, but honestly, we really, really hope that we can get some comments or inboxes on, like, if you ever have something or questions or topics that you want to talk about, we're down. Like we want that 100%. To happen. We've got lots of them to get us started, but like, we can't wait to see like who we end up chatting with and who we have on our podcast. Like we're not ready for that yet because we're not professionals, but eventually we'll have some
we can hardly contain ourselves together, let alone add a third party in the mix.
Like we're like cutting each other off and like, anyways, we're used to each other, but we will have some funny guests in the future once we like figure out what we're doing. But thank you guys so much for listening to us. If you've made it this far to the end of our first podcast, and we'll be back.
I love it. Thanks, Chelsea. This was wicked. We ripped off the Band-Aid.
We ripped off the Band-Aid. Okay, bye guys.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you next time.